Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I believe we are now streaming live on the air. We're going to say it's on the air. And welcome to the show. We have a wonderful show for you tonight. If you check out my Instagram, you will see a preview of what's to come tonight. There I am. Hello, everybody. And, she's dark back there. Very dark. Let's just see if we can do something about that. Oh. Oh, no. Drop the camera.
Hey, it actually fixed it.
Okay, let's see here. There. Oh, I know why it's not bright. Because nothing's playing right now other than this one VCR. It's the 6th VCR, actually. So we're going to hit play on the VCRs. It'll brighten up a little bit, okay? Anyways, welcome to the show. As you've seen, we've been busy the last few days, and there hasn't been any jams. So I hope you enjoy tonight's jam. It should be a good one, and I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Just let's just get into it, okay? Let's just do it. All right.
Of Trafalgar.
Diesel freight and passenger trains, even trains that blow through snow, old trains, new trains, fast trains, slow trains, smoking trains, even trains from around the world, plus toy trains, trolley trains, and much, much more. Hear the whistle blow.
Do not know the rules or how many played, but this is no ordinary contest. They played this game for their lives. More than 1,000 years ago, the men who played and the crowds who watched would all vanish, leaving the arena and all their magnificent cities empty. Today, only mysteries remain.
Count Horatio Nelson.
They were called the classic Maya. They built the greatest civilization of the Americas. When Europe was still in the Dark Ages, they produced artists and scientists whose achievements still astound.
I'll take that train to Georgia, tired of being alone. That big train's coming to take me
Later. It's very interesting the way they collect the herring, though. They built something called a weir in the shape of a heart. That's not a net, it's a stationary trap anchored to the bottom of the ocean. If you look from the air, you can notice a line going straight into the center of that weir. The herring will swim along the coast. When they hit that...
in civilizations, and we feel the fragility of civilization when we see something like the Maya ruins, when you see how high a civilization can develop and achieve, and how
Once the herring are caught, they'll be exported around the world, just like the dulse, type of seaweed that grows along the rocky coastline. We had to get up at 3:30 a.m. to collect the dulse. That's when it was low tide. The collectors were constantly falling on these slippery rocks. They were like ice. It's very hard on the collectors, and it's pretty hard on the boat, too.
But at these streets, just walked away into the forest, never to...
Is it dangerous?
Beam. The beams show up as lines on a computer, along with any strange shapes.
Still,
Yeah, you can make it.
their end,
Brian, you can start your turn now.
their empire. But why? Why?
What's going on? It's only that run fiver.
It is a question that has historians and archaeologists for ages. Only by exploring the deepest beliefs of a people who died.
At low tide,
About was very tolerant of vehicles. This provided us with a chance to film, for the very first time, the day-to-day activities of an African leopard and her cubs. Our female's about 7 years old, and her cubs were born in about June, early July, so they're now about 6 months old.
Contained in ancient tales of mighty kings and dangerous gods, in a world founded in ritual and sustained by bloody sacrifice.
She has 3 cubs. The larger ones are
Tales still
and 2
told
smaller
by
ones.
old men to children.
Their mother is evident. The female's pretty much on her own because the male takes absolutely no part in rearing the cubs. Kill them. So once the sun came up, she'd lead the cubs off back to the safety of the lair.
are 2,500 nesting pairs of puffin living here. I was about to run out and give that bird a Heimlich maneuver. It looked like he had a fishbone stuck in his throat the wrong way. But if you're a puffin, apparently this is very attractive behavior because that's how they get their mates. It's never worked for me.
Female would go off hunting for hours at a time, even sometimes for a day or more. On one amusing occasion, the cubs became really mischievous and started trying to catch starlings and doves.
Today they're reintroducing the birds back to the islands. They're doing quite well. And they only come to shore for one reason, to nest. They'll build their nest below the boulders and have their young. 2 months after the young are born, they'll scurry down to the ocean under the cover of darkness to protect them from the gulls and terns. And once they hit the water, they won't come back to the land again.
It's generally thought that leopards are only active at night, and so we were very surprised when our female set off from the lair at about 8 o'clock one morning. We hoped she'd be going out hunting, for it's most unusual to be able to film this behaviour.
It's been a long, long time since I've been there. I'm trying to find my way back.
Stole that north.
Riding on that new river train. It's the same old train that brought me here and gonna take me home.
The moose.
Male impala
Is not a national park. It's not even a national forest. It's a commercial wilderness.
capable of killing leopard cubs up to 2 months old.
Of course, the moose.
There you go, two birds, two different videos there. I synced it up for you because we missed it the first time, but it did happen. I promise you.
This area is not a national park. It's not even a national forest. It's a commercial wilderness. It's owned by corporations, families, and individuals. You can pay a small fee to come in here and hunt and fish. It's very rustic, no hotels, gas stations, or restaurants. But it's called a commercial wilderness because it's used mostly for logging. You'll see evidence of that everywhere.
produced in the history of the world.
Of Lake Champlain is in.
Agamemnon were ferried ashore a little north of Bastia. With huge strops around the boulders, they used the Agamemnon's biggest block and tackle to haul the cannons over the rocks and up the cliff. With cutlasses, they hacked trackways and then dragged the guns to within 700 yards of the fortress.
When the French commander was asked to surrender, he replied, "I have hot shot for your ships and bayonets for your men."
The firefight that followed was murderous, with the enemy returning shell for shell.
Here, all around. And men hardly ever come.
There's a dog loose in the wood.
Well, that does it.
A dog? Come on. What do you think will happen when he picks up our scent? Those that can swim, swim. The others will have to make out the best they can.
That's not good enough. We all got into this together. We'll all get out of it together.
Hazel, look.
It floats. That's it. That's it. Driver, get on, quickly.
Believed had been converted to
March 14th, off the Italian coast near a British squadron sights a French fleet.
and to try to root out and extirpate any remnants of ancient religion.
First to arrive is the swift Agamemnon, under Captain Horatio Nelson. His target is the monstrous 84-gun.
That was a good idea of yours, Blackberry.
Let's try to remember it. Might come in handy again.
Attacks
Done.
guns are fewest.
It was as if every copy of their Bible and Constitution.
With consummate skill and panache, Nelson tacked the Agamemnon up under the rear of the heavily armed Frenchman.
It's the first time you see one as white as. White like the adult.
Attempt to chase. These little piglets were so fast, we christened them Streaky Bacon.
When the dead bodies washed ashore, decide carcinogenics. Now remember one thing, the St. Lawrence is basically the drainage ditch for all the Great Lakes system. The pollution from Chicago, Milwaukee, the pulp mills of Lake Superior, Detroit, Toronto, it all comes through here eventually.
Recognizable by the solid spots on their lithe bodies, by their smaller heads and necks, longer legs, lighter, less powerful frames. They're built for speed, for hunting on the open plains. Their favorite prey are these little Thompson's gazelle, nicknamed Tommy.
There it is. The cliffs come right up to the side of the water, some of them 1,600 feet high. The captain likes to brag he can get you so close to those cliffs you're within a stone's throw. So they literally pass out stones to all the tourists and they throw them at the cliff when we go by. Of course, the next morning, they pass out Bengay to all the tourists. I thought it was pretty silly throwing rocks at a cliff, but you don't want to be left out when you're part of a group
And speaking to me.
The what?
The familiar. The plain language. Get thee my pants, he says.
Well, what about it?
Well, among us, thee and thou are used only to loved ones. To all others, we use you and he and they. Mother to children, husband to wife, and children to... Between lovers, of course.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm...
What?
I'm not. I wish thee to...
This must be a kind of a dull life.
Like the star charts of an astrologer, their codices mapped the positions of the stars and planets for centuries to come. The Maya calendar was unlike any other. These great gears illustrate their concept of time. The hieroglyphs on the larger wheel mark the 365 days of the solar year. Those on the two smaller gears represent the 260 days of the priest's sacred calendar. Together, this Maya time machine identifies the astrological significance of every single day. Using this calendar, Maya priests predicted the precise time and place of solar eclipses. For the average...
By midday, the temperature was nearly 100 degrees, and our cheetahs rested in the shade of an acacia tree. But digesting such a small meal would only take an hour or two.
That today, 1,500 years later, their calculations are off by only 33 seconds.
With powerful flashlights,
some 5,000 years ago,
they were about to quit.
Forbiddingly,
but not the seal.
The Maya calendar, this cycle of creation was to exist at precisely 4
What's happening back home? Think when we lived in our own borough.
On the North Shore, we can see the skyline. And here we'll make a bit of a southern turn, down into an area called the Welland Canal. Locks were put here to get the ships from one Great Lake to the next.
Perhaps because she
Believe me,
needed
the
to
sailors
feed
only
the
wished that the boats could go through the
Our
lock
leopard
as
hunted
quickly.
nearly all
Normally,
day,
this would
every
take
day,
over 45 minutes.
interspersing periods of an hour or two's rest, with moves to pastures new.
It also takes a lot of cooperation from the crew members. During the course of our journey, we'll pass through 23 locks.
She had an uncanny knack of chewing,
Now listen to me, you bud.
which also
Now did muckraking.
even that might careless wander by.
It looks like you've come a long way.
Lock, the gates are closed.
live here?
Millions of gallons of
Yes.
to raise it up to the next level.
This is our wallet.
We're going up the hill.
Well,
or really up the stairs, because each Great Lake is
why not?
than the one before.
But
Many of the sailors' families live along the
live
canal.
very comfortably on your own.
It'll take
There are enough of us to protect
just
ourselves.
a few miles.
Oh, don't get upset.
Who are you? What do you want?
Ships like that?
Get it out. Now, if the young lady could find us something to sign this with.
Justin Kerr is a photographer who found a way to take pictures of Maya vases as they rotate in front of his camera, effectively unrolling the continuous image painted on the vase.
when I put the vase down on the turntable and watch it turning in front of the camera, and those revelations have created
another
new understanding of the ancient Maya. Photographs reveal a people obsessed with the fearful and bloody gods of the underworld.
Their cap to convince the controlled the battle.
Some of these guys are very, very gruesome. The god of decapitation, for example, is a skeletal god. He very often is holding a decapitated head either by its hair or he has them the head in his palms. He is generally portrayed with having large volutes.
The commotion.
It's been a long day, I can't take any more. I gotta...
Wrong. We bought over 7,000 feet of duct tape because, you know, duct tape will hold anything together. And believe me, it was very scary.
Oh yeah, I dream of the legends of the rain.
And they asked her what it felt like to go over the falls in a barrel. She said she had no idea. She immediately...
Though both cats weigh much the same, the cheetah went
to the river to start our trip. That's when the problem started.
tried to make the stolen kill safe by hiding it in dense scrub.
Miles and 100 to go. It's a journey back to a place and time when a hot cup of coffee only cost you a dime, and I dream. Oh yeah, I dream.
Just trying to get a look over the rail. In the winter, you can have it almost all to yourself. Once we get around the falls and through the canal, we come out into Lake Erie, our second Great Lake. And at the far west end is Point Pelee National Park in Ontario. During the second weekend in May, people line up before the sunrise.
And she often sprinted on this as she passed by. The pungent smell lasts for days, even weeks, and has a social function, allowing leopards to avoid each other and avoid excessive exploitation of the area's food resources. She doesn't defend this territory as such. It's a sort of home range, the edges of which would be shared by other females and overlapped by just one territorial male, the father of the cubs. Despite December to February being the dry season in East Africa, the oppressive heat of mid-afternoon encourages
battle. It's full of sound and trumpets and screaming, and guys were pumped up. Some of them are already slain, decapitated head. He wouldn't. This other hunk of flesh. And the key point is right over in the corner of the paintings, where this guy is ripping out the fingernails of that particular captive, and his face is collapsing. He seems to be almost burbling.
This takes us right to when she was first built.
Blood dripping from the
peg's nearly through.
Was first laid.
And the rest of these captives seem now sunk right into their lap.
Time.
They look at their fingers. Blood is spurting right out of them.
Wait, the peg's out. You're free. I think he's gone.
Lies the sleepy hamlet of Buckler's Hard.
Even these shocking scenes didn't immediately overturn the cherished ideal of the peaceful Maya. It was like a parent overlooking some obvious flaw in a child.
When Giles Healy walked into this room, I'm not sure that he knew what to make of it. But when Thompson walked into this room,
Leopards have an exceptionally good sense of smell. And either because of this or their desire to avoid their prey smelling them, they usually stalk upwind. In this way, even when their field of view is masked.
You'll find the white-crowned sparrows here.
Giles Healy eventually finished his film.
Who said there's no such thing as a free lunch?
Descendants of the Maya, they too were portrayed as peaceful people in total harmony with nature.
Hand of man fashioned anything more magnificent and terrible as the great wooden wind.
That's where we ought to be. That's where we have to get to.
She began to take shape.
It would take years before Thompson would acknowledge his mistake. But a continent away, another discovery provided a new set of clues. By pure accident, in a most unlikely setting, a new chapter in Maya history would begin.
Termite mound. And now she was in position. We thought she should make a kill, but she seemed undecided about which prey to try for. First she sneaked round to hide from the impala, but she seemed a bit reluctant to have a go at the impala, perhaps because of the sharp horns, with three
Parade. Lots of flag waving going on everywhere.
The book, Reproductions of Surviving Maya Codices.
By reducing drag, copper plating.
I think I see a dog. Where?
Was realizing Maya hieroglyphs were much more than a
On full power, the Agamemnon was propelled through the water by 40 sails of all shapes and sizes.
An archaeologist. Her keen eye detected patterns in the dates carved in stone.
Rabbit.
The entire span of human life.
A 24-pound iron ball well over a mile. At half a mile, their deadliest range.
$300,000 worth of fireworks shot off from barges in the center of the river in just under 40 minutes.
Steam trains, diesel freight and passenger trains, even trains that blow through snow. Old trains, new trains, fast trains, slow trains.
Couldn't understand her.
Much, much more.
Cubs.
Blow, feel the heat, smell the smoke as these titans of
In the bushes. Considered it too risky to move the cubs when it was nearly dark.
Finally be told. 15 years
Before the Agamemnon,
bring the skeleton
all
with the
but
jade
19
mask
were saved.
would now learn his identity.
I must go back to my friends. But we'll be back, and any of you who wish can come along with us. Where is it?
There. I think it's...
I'll get you away.
In a line of rulers that stretched centuries. He ruled for almost 70 years. Lord Pakal was one of the most powerful kings in the history of the Americas.
Then. Let him alone. Cruel thing.
Permission, and a big crane. The paperwork alone.
But the power isn't based in controlling resources or manipulating the economy or mounting.
Sun rises.
Yes, ma'am. I did.
Thank you, Frederick. All of us here in the valley are grateful to you.
Worth, it's like I was saying. I ain't got any use for all that extra water. Why shouldn't I let my neighbors use it? I believe that neighbors should be friendly.
What you got there on your neck, a boil?
Miss Worth, I rustled that burned boil
Have
off
you
of my...
tried putting soap and sugar poultice on it?
No, ma'am, I ain't.
You get down this minute and come in the house. I'll fix it for you. That's right.
You gonna hurt me?
No, that's a shame. It looks awful.
Well, looks like your prayer straightened everything out.
So you think your gun changed, Frederick Carson, huh?
Who says I pointed a gun?
I do.
Well, I didn't.
And he gave in more easily than I expected. They remember this course. The Lord moves in mysterious manner at times using strange methods and odd instruments.
Me?
Mm.
Well, that would be odd.
I just get a gnawing hankering after good pies and truck like that.
Okay, hopefully you're back with
I want
us
you to have some of these. They're all good with coffee in them.
We had a little issue there. I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, the OBS crashed on me. Yeah. Isn't that crazy, eh? It just crashed on me. All right, okay. Is there an echo in here? What's going on? Anyways, I hope you're back with me after that little hiccup there. Don't worry, I am recording. So it's all right. We'll cut that out in the recording. You'll be good. Anyways, back to the show. Back to the show.
With the danger gone, she started to call the cubs back.
All right, I think it was about 26 minutes that we made it there, so I think it's time for an intermission. I didn't want that to be the intermission because I really wanted to thank everybody for watching. Yes, I'm very grateful. We hit 1,000 views on the Failed Remedies stream. It wasn't the stream, actually, it was the recording. The recording are on the videos page, and they are better quality. They aren't subject to lag. I don't like lag, and I know you don't either, so you want to see the recording. I'm promoting the videos. So anyways, yeah, we had a huge bump. It looks like YouTube was throwing me a bit of a bone there. So thank you, YouTube, for recommending the video to the weird audience, the algorithmic recipients of this weird stuff. Because you gotta be a bit of a weirdo if this is showing up in your feed, right? So, anyways, I'm not gonna talk for too much longer here, okay? So, back to the show.
Others were allowed their turn on the carcass. Their mother still kept watch in case the hyenas returned.
Done the Agamemnon 2-1. Agamemnon.
Let me get this straight, Fiver. You want us to climb this, is that it?
In fact, all Maya gave offerings of their blood.
If you'll notice on the skulls, there are numbers marked here. Because one of the biologists is studying the moose bones. His name is Rolf Peterson. He's been up here 20 years. But he's really not studying the moose. He's studying the Isle Royal wolf population.
A carcass of this size could last the family several days. Nothing is wasted. And if anything is left, the remains, of course, are safely stored in the tree.
Remain.
New river train, riding on that new river train. It's the same old train that brought me here and gonna take me home again. Riding on that new river.
The ball game served a deadly purpose.
Shot on sight. You've heard stories about the wolf man, but you know, so they hope that by educating people about these beautiful animals, they can bring them back to the lower 48 where they belong. Biologist Dave, most authority on wolves, and this center was his idea.
His back is ready for the torch.
We hope it worked. Now along the Minnesota, the boundary water is a new area, International Falls, and go up the lake of the woods. You'll notice the green speck in the center of the lake.
We take you to Burrow.
Go away. We no good, but I walk good. Is where
you come from?
Know him.
Elected.
At over 150 miles of national park. Here. They're known for their size and quantity. So the first thing you do before you get here is buy a Minnesota mosquito trap.
Encouraged by almost daily rain showers, the grass in the leopard's territory grew longer and longer, and this attracted a new range of creatures.
Remove the king, and the whole system comes crashing down. For Arthur Demarest, the crisis for the classic Maya began the moment they lost faith in their kings.
The source of power is this ritual,
Centered on
this
this
display,
display
the ceremony,
ring,
the theater.
worn bare by the trampoline jumping.
When real
Center of each male's territory. The display is
between centers.
Saturday, March 22nd.
No mates! There are mates! There are cheeks! Plenty trouble for you! You need mates!
It's working, Hazel.
You've got no brain!
4 years after Trafalgar, the Agamemnon entered.
For you.
Made it out again.
Faced as
in June 1809, 8 warships, including
others, could only rest in
stalking a French squadron.
More sacrifice, more blood, but it didn't work.
You for a ride behind the sled, although some of them are a little too young yet. And there is no better way to see northern Minnesota than behind the beautiful dog sled team going through the forest. In the old days before snowmobiles, the sleds were used to haul provisions and passengers. It's an art form today, really. There are even international races up here. And I was surprised to find out there are no brakes on the sled. You have to trust the dogs to listen to your commands. When you say stop, we're young. It's pretty easy to drive with these sleds in the forest. We were going along just fine. Well, until we came to one sharp corner, and that's where the trouble started.
a female became aware of a herd of impala. And though the family had already eaten, theirs is a life of feast or famine. And a leopard with cubs must take advantage of this seasonal glut. She had an uncanny memory for
stone out of the jungle. Self-made.
If the spreader bar works, the cannon won't collapse into a pile of rust.
Original in all the world.
It could spin out of control, damaging itself.
But ultimately, and the great achievements of the Maya kings and queens, all their formidable powers, were built upon the faith of the people. And when crops failed or enemies prevailed, the people no longer believed. And when the people lost faith, the rulers lost power. And when that power vanished, the Maya abandoned their great cities, and the jungle reclaimed its stone.
All right, I'm seeing here actually that was 35 minutes, not 26 minutes. So I don't know where I got that number from. And yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. We're doing pretty good with this one, I would say. So far, so good, eh?
Lucy's rabbits out, look. That's getting in quick.
Of course, the lake is perfect for fishing. It's set up.
The sacred world of the classic Maya should never be a mystery. They left, after all, an abundant written record. An independently invented writing system. Incredibly, one of only 5 produced in the...
Fiver, there's been some trouble. Hazel's been shot. No. The Black Rabbit serves Lord Frith. But he does no more than his appointed task.
Beautiful, fragile documents. They were a truly remarkable achievement. A unique and totally original written language, as momentous as the heart.
She killed successfully an average of once every 3 days or so.
We're going to continue our journey west by train. I had a flat tire. I couldn't make it to the train station. I wouldn't miss a train. Now, I don't know what's wrong with the people in northern Minnesota, but they're not very friendly up there. Nobody would pick me up hitchhiking, and I couldn't figure out why not. The Empire Builder leaves Chicago and travels for 3 days, all the way over to Seattle, Washington. Family on board. There's plenty of room, good food, entertainment. And if you have a smart travel agent like I do, well, you can get some pretty good discount tickets. The train traveled across the prairie. And it was pretty scary riding up here with the engineer, but I wasn't afraid for us. I was afraid for all the crazy people in their cars and trucks who tried to race that train over the railroad crossing. And every engineer has his own horror stories about people who lost that race. We traveled in comfort on our way west, but in the old days they didn't have this option. In fact, they traveled by a different type of train, the wagon train. That's how the Royal Canadian Mounted Police got from one place to the other. They originated up here in Fort Dufferin, Manitoba, and they used wagon trains to make their way out west.
All right, we got a very, very long synchronicity of trains here. Holy hell.
I'm sure he has a jacuzzi in his VCR in there. The Mounted Police traveled 840 miles from Fort Dufferin to the Rockies to bring law and order to the wild, wild west. Today, every few years, the
The female appeared to be just as concerned for the cart.
In the 1950s, the great Maya archaeologist Eric Thompson would conclude these were a people dedicated to studying the heavens and the...
go up up for a free ride here. But don't enjoy yourself too much, because if you want to take this sport up for a hobby, those balloons begin at $20,000 each. Of course, the hot air is free if you have enough friends. It's the perfect way to see the beautiful countryside below.
The thorns.
Continuing our journey west, we could look out the window and think about the
Dials. El Castillo, the Great Pyramid of Chichen Itza, has 365 steps and platforms to mark the days of the year. Alignment and design is so precise that once each year they cast a unique shadow that records the spring equinox. Of the stars and planets for centuries to come. The Maya calendar was unlike any other. These great gears illustrate their concept of time. The hieroglyphs on the larger wheel mark the 365 days of the solar year. Those on the two smaller gears represent the 200.
It off, I suppose. Oh, Frith and Inlay.
Come on, let's get out of here.
But what?
Come on, hurry!
Aren't you wounded?
No, never better. Let's go.
What was that on?
The accuracy of Maya astronomy still astounds. The cycles of the moon were mapped so precisely that today, 1,500 years later, their calculations are off by only 33 seconds.
Stay here. So I knocked him down. I had to, and raced off. Next thing I heard was this dreadful squeal.
So the Humber got the other Hermit?
He must have. After all, I led them right into it. But I never saw what happened.
It's not to rest here, they come.
A patrol?
Yeah, it's coming for find you, it's go! You go to women, they not find you!
Come on, give under that bridge, unless you want your ears chewed.
According to the Maya calendar, this cycle of creation will cease to exist at precisely 4 Ahau, 3 Kenkin. Sunday, December 23rd.
Right, Hazel, you must go now.
We'll go down to the river.
It's a horse like Puerto. Yeah, that's just who it is.
The world's great rivers have the same destination, the sea. Of all the places where a river meets the sea, the greatest lies here, in South America.
What were you doing?
developed. Many people are considering them to be petting zoos. But of course, these are all wild creatures. That coyote's looking for something for lunch. Preferably that ground squirrel. But unfortunately, he's pretty smart too. Now you'll find the mule deer located here, named after mules because of their large ears. They can weigh up to 300 pounds, much larger than the whitetails back east. Park. And if you come in the fall, the mule deer will be displaying their beautiful antlers for the mating season.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the message is so obscure that it's very, very hard to get to. But sometimes it reveals itself.
They can stand 3.5 feet high, shoulders weigh up to 250 pounds. They spend the summer grazing at the high mountain ranges. During the winter, they'll come down below.
Vice Admiral, Viscount, Horatio,
Nelson.
We'll have to find a way to get away from them.
If what Holly
Of the legends of the rail.
To boil over radiator fluid, which is very bad for them. And you're not supposed to feed the animals in the park, but it's obvious people do. They come looking for handouts. And that's the worst thing you can do is feed them. When they become too dependent on humans, the park rangers have to shoot them.
The god of decapitation, for example, is a skeletal god. He very often is holding a decapitated head either by its hair or he has them, the head in his palms. He is generally portrayed with
Leading the expedition is Oxford archaeologist Menson Baum.
All right, that concludes our session for today. I hope you enjoyed the nice little Sunday jam. Yeah, Sunday afternoon jam. It's almost supper time where I am. For the people who don't know, we are in Canada. Yep, that's right. And I am Canadian. Yes. I have to go, so I'm gonna land the plane on this one, okay? And until next time, thank you for watching. Keep fit and have fun.
Bears are omnivores. They'll eat grass, flowers, ants, honey. They will eat meat if they have the opportunity. But they are not the ferocious meat-eating predators as portrayed in movies and books. In fact, they are 80% vegetarian. But these are not the most dangerous animals in North America. Neither is the rattlesnake or the wolf. That honor goes to the last true symbol of
war.